Hello, this is Daniel Castle. I'm a senior at Mid-America Christian University, and I'm discussing today for a class on leadership, my styles of leadership. I'll be speaking to you from a book called Being Leaders from Aubrey Malphurs. He wrote this in 2003, and primarily I'll be quoting from page 95 and 98. I've got two main leadership styles according to the appendix that the leadership test that I did, and that is director and analytical. Not a surprise there, none whatsoever. The director portion and analytical portion. Actually, I found it kind of ironic that the way Malphurs explains both of these in his initial assessment is. Page 95, it says directors are task-oriented leaders. And if you go to page 98 and look up the analyticals are task-oriented leaders. Well, that's me. It's a very good assessment on that. He goes on to say about directors, he goes on to say, as such, they bring strength to organizations that need more focus on accomplishing ministry. And he leads with analyticals. He says they lead with well in ministry situations, calling for people who are factual, probing, and detail-oriented, amongst who demand high quality. That fortunate or unfortunate, I'm not sure. They have both served me good and served me not so good in the past. The good part is I have the ability of cutting through the clutter and seeing things other people can't see on occasion. Not always, but on occasion. The bad thing is sometimes I forget there's people behind the numbers, and that is something that I've struggled with over the years. I am kind of a take charge type of guy, but that doesn't always. It's not always appropriate to do. Sometimes people learn best when somebody else steps back and allows them to lead, and I've learned that over the years. I've taken leadership analytical tests like this to find out your styles for probably close to 20 years when I first started, and I haven't really changed that much over the last 20 years. I think that looking at strengths and weaknesses are very important, and I believe it does help understand who you are, both strengths and weaknesses, to be able to carve out a path that allows you to have maximum influence in the kingdom for God. I believe that my style, the way it functions, I do tend to, look for new things to do, new things to accomplish, new things to get into. I do tend to do that. A shortcoming of mine is once the newness is worn off, I tend to get bored and look for something else new to do. So that's something I've had to work on over the years. I believe that my current assignment is it fits very well for this. I am a pastor of a small church in Eastern Kentucky that we are moving through a renovation change. We're moving towards different ministries, different outreach concepts. So that works well for what I'm trying to what I'm good at, what I like to do. Where I will fall short, or where I know to be looking for, is once we go into maintenance mode. I need to not get bored. I need to continue to serve and continue to move forward. Now, I didn't used to recognize that. I just thought, well, okay, let's move on to the next thing. But I have learned that actually that's a weakness. That's something that I need to work on, and I have worked on that. It says, in Malphurs, on page 95, it talks about one of the weaknesses of a director is this. It says they often struggle with the relational side of leadership. Very true. One I would disagree with him on, as far as analytics, as far as weaknesses goes, is analytics attempt to maintain the status quo or even look to the past and tradition for direction. Not me whatsoever. With that, I may be to a fault looking at direction, or looking at tradition as a detriment in a lot of cases. If it doesn't bring people to Christ, if it doesn't point people to Christ, I question why we do it. And if we put money into it, it better do one of those two things. Point people to Christ or explain about Christ. And that's, to a fault. I'm quick to get rid of traditional things. It doesn't bother me one bit to go outside the box and to think of ways to serve people and do things for ministry that is not traditional. So, in that essence, maybe we differ a bit on this, but overall, it pretty well, well, fortunate or unfortunate, it pretty well hits me on the head. Um, I am self-disciplined in a lot of ways, but in a lot of ways, when it comes time to maybe look for new assignments, I need to slow down and I need to let God move and not get ahead of Him, because I may find the best years are the maintenance years, and that's what I'm moving toward, in my life right now. I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. I know it's been a busy week for myself and everyone else, I'm sure, so I won't hold you any longer. Thank you very much for listening to this video. I appreciate it, and any comments, I greatly appreciate as well. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.